The city of Nairobi was already awake long before the sun showed its face. Streetlights flickered weakly as early commuters poured into the roads. Buses groaned under the weight of tired bodies chasing survival. Hawkers shouted prices into the half-darkness, their voices mixing with the smell of fuel smoke, fried dough, and damp asphalt. In Nairobi, time was not just money. It was dignity. It was food. It was life. Those who respected time survived, those who didn't were forgotten. At the heart of the city stood Vanguard Heights, a towering glass building that reflected the sky and hid the souls within. To work there was to touch opportunity. To lose a job there was to fall back into hopelessness. That was why Yoadu walked faster than his legs wished to carry him. His worn shoes slapped the pavement as he checked his phone again. 5:39 a.m. Yo's chest tightened. He had been employed at Vanguard Group only 3 days ago. 3 fragile days that felt like borrowed mercy. Not because he lacked education, but because the city did not reward certificates without connections. He was educated. He held a higher national diploma in human resource management, neatly folded at home like an unused weapon. He had attended countless interviews. He had shaken hands with men who smiled politely and never called back. When Vanguard finally employed him, it was not as HR staff, it was as a cleaner. Still, Yo thanked God. On his first day, the cleaning supervisor warned him sharply, "This company has no patience." The CEO hates lateness more than dishonesty. On the second day, the warning was repeated. On the third day, the CEO himself appeared unexpectedly. "If you come late," he said coldly, "don't bother coming again." Those words haunted Yo's sleep. That morning, he skipped breakfast, chose walking over transport, and embraced urgency over comfort. As he hurried down Unity Avenue, he saw her. An old woman stood by the roadside, confused and sweating. She clutched a small bag tightly, her eyes scanning faces that refused to see her. "Please," she said gently to a passerby, "can you help me?" The man waved her off impatiently. Another crossed the road to avoid her. 2 women laughed quietly and moved on. Yo slowed, but fear shouted louder than compassion. He checked his phone. 5:42 a.m. The old woman touched his arm. "My son," she said softly, "I am lost." Yo stopped. "I am looking for Vanguard Heights," she added. "People point, but I don't understand." Yo's heart sank. That building was far, across a dangerous road. He checked his time again. 5:44 a.m. If he stopped, he would be late. If he was late, he would be fired. The old woman wiped sweat from her face. "I have been asking since dawn," she whispered. No one listens. You notice something painful. Some of those who ignored her wore Vanguard ID cards. He clenched his jaw. At that moment, you stood between fear and conscience. You exhaled deeply. "Ma'am," he said, "I will take you." Relief washed over her face. They crossed the busy road slowly, cars honking angrily. You held her hand firmly. When she stumbled, he steadied her. Sweat soaked his shirt, not from heat alone but from fear. As they walked, she spoke about her son who worked at Vanguard Heights. She spoke with pride, unaware of Yo's growing anxiety. When they finally reached the building, she smiled with relief. "God bless you," she said, holding his hands. Yo checked his phone. 6:07 a.m. Panic seized him. He ran. At the cleaning department, his supervisor waited. "You are late." "I helped an old woman," Yo pleaded. "Excuses," she snapped. "The CEO knows." Minutes later, Yo stood before the CEO. "You were warned," the man said coldly, "but sir, you're dismissed." Yo removed his uniform quietly. As he walked out, shame burned his chest, yet deep inside, there was peace. He had chosen humanity. 2 days later, Vanguard Heights buzzed with tension. The CEO's mother was visiting. He returned to collect his belongings. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out, "My son." It was the old woman. She rushed to him and held his hands. "This is the young man who helped me," she announced. The CEO froze. "You fired him," his mother said calmly. "For helping me." Silence fell. The CEO's face hardened with regret. Right there, he made a decision. He was reinstated, not as a cleaner, but as HR manager. Those who ignored the woman bowed their heads in shame. Kindness had spoken louder than fear.